Okay. So now we have a general idea of the user access levels that we have in DX Suite. How do we define the levels of additional users and what level they're in? Well, we could do that in the users tab here. So let's go to users, manage user groups. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new group and we're going to define a level of access for that group. And then we're going to put our users that we want a limited access into that limited group. So we're going to go manage user groups. In this case, I already have a group. So I could just expand this and I have this child test user group right here. But if you don't have one, you can go ahead and hit add child user group. Remember, you're on the users tab. So don't do that on the organization tab where it'll be, there's a similar option where it says add child organization. You're not going to do that. That's going to screw things up for you. So we're not going to do that. We're going to come over to users. You're going to search your organization if you have more than one. You're going to go manage user groups. You're going to click add child user group. And then you're going to give it a name and a description, and then it'll bring you to the next tab here that we're going to do. So I'm going to go to my child user group and we're going to edit that. Okay. And then here you're going to have options. Delegation. Delegation would be to delegate access to an additional party, right? So we're not going to do that. We don't have somebody that needs to share access to this child user group.
Okay.
Assign applications. You're just going to be under DX Fleet. I'm in staging, so mine's going to be here. Here is where we can configure this group with a certain level of access. So if I want this group to only be fuel manager or only be transaction manager, then I can go ahead and set that access here by turning on the options that I want. These options do stack. So if I want somebody to be a transaction manager, fuel manager, vehicle manager, I can do that. And when you do, you need to hit save and next. Let's just go ahead and do transaction manager for now. And then here we have sites that need to be assigned. So you need to assign the site access that you want this group to be. If you want only one site, you can assign only one site by checking the box and hitting save, or you can assign all the sites that are in your organization. So this is one way you can restrict access. If you want them to only have access to one site or certain sites, then you can only turn on those options for this user group. Now, you may want to label your user group with a better name than this. So if you have access to, say, the Normandy location, you could say Normandy child user group. And you can add those users and select the access. If you want to get more granular, you could say Normandy user group, and then you could put additional child user groups under that. That might say Normandy transaction, Normandy fuel, and you can create additional groups if you wanted to. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to manage these users in these groups. So I wouldn't do too, but you can, provide access to only one site if you wanted to. So you just hit save and next here, and then assigning user. So you have a list of available users. You can just select them and add them over here to the right, and that will add those users to groups. Now, keep in mind, if the user doesn't exist yet, you can't do this because they're not in the system. So you'll have to put in a user request for us to do that. Now, you can go ahead and create the groups that you want. And then when you put in the request, you say add it to this group. And then we can create the user access and then give them that access to the group. Now, let's go look what that looks like once we add somebody to this group. So I have added this user here to that additional group. And if we go to details, now you'll see I was in org admin before. Now I'm also in child test group. If you needed to edit that, you can click an edit button down here. You can't edit your own user. So I can't make changes to myself, but here's where you could. So if I was going to make changes to this other user, you could come down here, hit edit, and you can delete them or add. So if I wanted to add them to the child test user group, I can add them here. If I want to remove org admin, I could just uncheck these, and those will delete those other additional access that are on here. So once you have the access configured that you want, you can just hit save. So now we have users that we can create a user group. We can define what sites have access to that group. We can define what level of access that has. And then we can put in a request if we need to for, our global support team to be able to a user to a particular group. Those users don't exist yet. So we put in the user through our workflow. Once they're approved through the workflow, we would add them to your organization in that particular user group that you need them to be in. And when the users log in, they're going to log in with the various levels that they have. So let me sign in here to additional DXFleet, and I will show you what that looks like real quick for that user we created. All right. So again, this user has access to org admin, so they'll be able to log into everything. So let me change that quick. Yep. All right. I'm just removing the org admin option and saving that. And then I'm going to log in to user management. Or I'm going to log into DXFleet, actually. We're going to log into DXFleet. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we're going to log into DXFleet as that user. And this user has transaction manager access. Actually, I think I need to define update this one more time. All right, once again, and I will show you. I'm just changing the access from where I'm. Okay, and I'm going to sign out and sign back in. Okay, so now we only have transaction manager access. So we're going to go ahead and see. We can go to transactions. We can export. We have access to our reports, our scheduler. But you'll see that we got rid of cards. We got rid of sites. So here as a transaction manager, we can see our transactions. We can't edit, right? So we don't have site or admin access. So you don't have access to edit the transaction. You can only view the transactions. Now we can see more details and stuff based on the options here, and we can run a report and we can export the data. So all of this stuff was available to us. But as a transaction manager, we have limited access because remember, the transaction manager only has access to view the dashboard and view the transactions, and we can run reports. So when we do that level of access, that restricts those other options. If we change the access, then we can change the access to different levels. So let's do a different one here and kind of just go over what that is. Give me 1 second. Let me just change again. Going to I'll show you that change here in a second. I just got to do another page. So we jump over here to application access. Let's turn on some additional options. So let's say we want site admin, vehicle, all the normal ones that you would see. Let's see. Let's just do those. And then let's save that. Yeah, let's do, okay. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over to the users tab for that. In 1 second, I'll show you that. So we go back to the child user group, we edit application access. Let's change it from transaction manager to, let's do site manager. Save. All right, now we're going to go back to the XFleet. We're going to sign out. We're going to sign back in. Okay. Now, you see we have access to sites and transactions and card. So as site administrator, you have more access, but we have access to different things. So here we have transactions, but you'll notice that we don't have report. So we can't run a report. We can go to cards and we can see the cards, but we can't edit because we don't have edit access for card. We can go to transactions and same thing. You could see the transactions, but you just can't edit them. But we have settings and sites. So here, because we were site administrator, we have access to edit our site. I don't have anything configured for this one yet, so there's nothing in here, but you have access to that as a site administrator. So that is our site administrator option. Let's see what else we can do. If we change to, let's do a vehicle manager. This is a vehicle manager only. Let's sign out, sign back in. Now we will be a vehicle manager. And here you basically have access to the card. So the cards, and you can make changes to, let's see, maybe we don't have maintenance turned on this. So you have access to the cards, the card records here, but you don't have access to the edit. So depending on what level of access you need, will determine how you use the system. So in this case, we don't have anything we could do on the drivers, but we have access to the maintenance tab. So we can go to vehicles, we can go to edit, and if we were using a maintenance option here, then you could see the oil change and the tile rotation, and you have access to the maintenance under the vehicle manager. So that's what the vehicle manager role does. And then the read-only user will give you those additional fields. So if you turn on read-only, what we could do is we'll just save read-only, and let's sign out one more time. So now I've given it access to vehicle manager, read-only user. And so now we could see all the tabs for everything. And we can go to the page, but we can't make any changes for anything. So we still have access to the same things we did before with vehicle records. So if we go to the vehicle and the filter, we could still do the edit for the vehicle maintenance. And if we go to transactions, we now see transactions. We can see the reports, but we can't make any changes because we've just given read-only. So if you need to see some stuff, you could turn that, be able to see everything, but you won't be able to make changes with the read-only. And that's just kind of some of the options that we have. But again, in user management, we can manage user groups. We can create the user groups that we want. And we can assign the different users to those different groups. Now, if you wanted to make changes again to the users, you can just edit the users here with the little eye icon and give them additional access, add them to multiple user groups, and then you can make changes to those groups here. This can be a complicated subject, so if you just need help on this, just let us know and submit a ticket. We can try and assist you with what you're trying to accomplish. But the idea is create a user group, define the level of site access, define the level of user access, and then adding users to those groups. And then that will allow you to use those predefined user roles for your needs and your purposes. And then again, if you have any problems or questions or concerns, or just need assistance doing this, just reach out to the support teams and we can try to assist you with what you're trying to accomplish.